It's Project Cargo Professionals live at Breakbulk Europe in Rotterdam, and I'm with Martyn Lawns from DHL. Good afternoon, Martyn.
Good afternoon, Luke. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Before we get on to the important topics, I want to know how your trip to Boston was to watch Scotland play in the World Cup.
Yeah, it was amazing, Luke. Just the atmosphere. I mean, despite the bank balance taking a hit, but yeah, no, I was there with my three sons and my father and three generations. None of us had ever seen Scotland play in the World Cup. But no, the atmosphere, I think there was more Scots took over, obviously, than the Haitians. But no, it was tremendous. And getting a win to start the World Cup was a great way. But win, lose or draw, it wouldn't have made a difference. The atmosphere was tremendous.
I was going to say, first win for how many years?
Well, first win in the World Cup since probably 20 plus years. So, but no, it was tremendous. And now, obviously, with Brazil and Morocco drawing, it puts us top of the league.
Good. Well, glad you had a good trip and you've been busy because before that we were in Amsterdam for the DHL New Energy Conference, which we'll get on to in a second. But just bring us up to date because you were recently promoted to CEO. So tell us about that and your role and how that looks.
Yeah, so back in August I took over as the CEO for Industrial Projects. Industrial Projects sits within our global forwarding division within the DHL Group. So we have 50 countries, over 800 staff in industrial projects. I would say a strong legacy of doing oil and gas projects, but as you said, diversifying that with a legacy of wind projects. But as we see, the growth in new energy is certainly one of the areas that we're focused on within industrial projects. And I'm sure we'll talk about that in our discussion today. So yeah, so I'm 14 years with DHL. I have a metals and mining background. I joined DHL from Rio Tinto. And I think being close to the customer, and that's obviously why we're here this week in Breakbulk and the event that we ran last week in Amsterdam. I think understanding the customer, and that's why we have that global presence that we leverage to understand what the new challenges are in the business.
So it's a pretty big footprint already, as you said. But in terms of industrial projects, what are your priorities? Where are you looking to grow?
Yeah, I think, well, the first thing is wherever our customers take us. I mean, with DHL is the most global company I've ever worked for, and as a brand and internationally recognizable, it does endear you to large multinational companies. So, as I say, we've got a traditional oil and gas background, and we leverage that. We've done many projects moving, as I say, project cargo, depending on where the oil and gas takes us, and we're particularly excited to see what happens in Latin America with all eyes on Venezuela. In fact, we moved first cargo, I would say, last week for a new customer into Venezuela. So we see that and we're watching that intently. So we still have our customs license, so we can actually not just move cargo, but we can clear it now in Venezuela. So that's one to watch. I would say Latin America, more inclusively from a new energies perspective, big pipeline of wind projects in Brazil and Chile. And then, again, in the Middle East, aside from oil and gas and the unfortunate events over the last few months, we'll see certainly reported in the press up to 60 billion of new projects because of the damage caused. Again, these are not DHL numbers, but just what I read in the press. But, leveraging our Middle East and Africa team, again, new energy, we're supporting projects that 5-10 years ago, who would have thought we were putting up wind turbines in the desert, right? So again, new energy knows no bounds. And of course, here in Europe, looking at the number of energy projects, we see battery energy storage, again, another sector or segment within our new energy sphere. So yeah, from our perspective, because we leverage our global presence, we see an increase in mining projects legislatively in the US coming to fore faster under the Trump administration. And we see, as I say, the European diversification from just the wind projects to solar projects. So quite a range of projects coming onto the market.
And I was listening to another podcast that you did where you explained that you've got 2 roles, but only 1 salary, you said.
Unfortunately.
So the other portfolio is that you are in charge of the new energy for DHL as a group.
Yes.
And as we mentioned last week, you held a new energy conference in Amsterdam, which I went to. So tell us, why did you hold that event and what did you take away from it?
Yeah, I mean, so new energy for us brings together quite a, I would say, circularity in terms of the approach. So it's part of our 2030 strategy. And if we look at the challenges of bringing those projects to the market, you need a multimodal approach. So if you look at the battery energy storage units, they're getting bigger. Maybe today average around 38 to 43 tons. But we're working on the next generation of battery storage where customers are asking us to anticipate the logistics challenges as they move up to 60, 80, and maybe even 100 tons in the future. So I think the DHL Group's well placed. As I said, within global forwarding, we have our customs team, and they're also at our disposal when we're moving cargo through our network. So again, where we can be a customs broker, we do our own clearance. We've got the scale, and we've got that experience, at least from a project perspective, as I say, in some more traditional oil and gas markets, and we apply that learning to move project cargo in the new energy space. But moreover, when I'm looking at our Express team, when I look at the aftermarket support, we also announced last week that we have a time definitive service in Express, which guarantees that you get the parts that you've ordered within a 2-hour window. So when you're trying to maintain a solar park or maintain a wind park, and you've got the criticality of having the uptime that the grid demands, then you need companies like DHL to ensure that you can actually service, not just build, but do the aftermarket.
And that's quite interesting because there was a time when some project forwarding companies in this business were quite proud of the fact that they only do projects. Yeah. They don't do other services. They only move heavy lift cargo. But that's not how DHL is targeting the energy sector. Yeah. So what do you think is the future for a smaller project forwarder who's only handling projects maybe in 1 or 2 countries that isn't able to offer the whole range of solutions that DHL does? What's their future?
Yeah, I can't really comment about their future, but I can talk about the advantages. I mean, when we're looking at some of these energy projects, and again, I go back to, we have a chartering division that moves sea freight. Again, with fuel and the rates on the rise, you've got to look at the investment that you need to make to actually support some of these infrastructure projects. To charter a full vessel anywhere between 2 and 5 million, and therefore you need that capital outlay. So I would say the DHL financial strength helps us, but moreover, having, as I say, go back to the 220 countries that we operate in, I've spoken to a number of customers in the last couple of weeks that, yes, they want the support at the point of manufacture, but as the exports become more complex and you need to understand the local legislation, you need that end-to-end service, not just from origin, but at destination. And I think, for our perspective, we move general cargo, air freight and ocean freight, we do the customs clearance, and project customers are looking to DHL to provide that one-stop shop. They don't want the complexity of having different interfaces or different suppliers in their supply chain. So that really the differentiator that we make is that we are that one-stop shop, and with a high proportion of those services can come within the DHL group. Again, I talked to customers this morning that we're executing investment in data centers and semicon. And the key to winning some of those projects was providing a warehouse facility and also outside storage, which we rely on our supply chain division to actually provide the warehousing. And again, these can be multi-user sites, so it's assets that we already have. We have 17 million square meters of warehousing globally. So we leverage that as DHL Industrial Projects as part of global forwarding to then ensure that we've got that warehouse set up for the project. So again, that's something that we can do. I can't speak for others, but we take advantage of that service within DHL.
And we also heard a lot last week about decarbonisation in DHL's own operations. But the $1 million question is, are the customers willing to pay for more sustainable shipping? So are they?
Yeah, I would say more so in the e-commerce sector. When we look at, you and I have that decision to make when we're purchasing for our private gifts, and you get the choice as to whether you want to offset the carbon, same as you would if you were booking a flight. And we're seeing that being consumer-led. So it's surprising, actually, our express team see an uptick in consumers actually choosing to actually offset and take our Go Green service. And I think for us, that's something that we continue to monitor. And we're also, as I say, watching that closely within global forwarding as part of our strategy. But you're right. I think it will take another push from the legislators to actually ensure that sustainable marine fuel and aviation fuel is being used. But we do see when the consumer choice is made that's being chosen by, as I say, the general public, and we do see that increase.
So it is starting to change.
Yes. Yeah.
Martyn, thanks a lot for the update, and good luck to Scotland for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Luke.
Thank you.
Cheers.